After everyone. Hello and welcome back to Britain's Golden Era. We're shifting format once again to look at different foods from across the UK, region by region, starting today with Cornwall. What follows will be 10 beloved Cornish dishes, which locals of the area will be familiar with and are all great reasons to visit. But first, a little about Cornwall. Cornwall is an area on the southwest coast of the UK, known for its fishing history, its proud independent spirit, and the band/film The Fisherman's Friends. You will see the industry that shaped Cornwall, mainly fishing but also tin mining, appear quite a lot in the inspirations and origins behind the various dishes on this list. First up at number 1, we have Stargazer Pie. This ties in nicely to the nautical history we mentioned earlier. Perhaps the most visually striking dish on this list, Stargazer Pie features whole pilchards, small fish similar to sardines with their heads poking through the pastry crust, appearing to gaze at the stars. This traditional dish from Mousehole commemorates the legendary fisherman Tom Borcock, who saved the village from starvation by braving a storm to go out in search of fish. It is ceremonially eaten on the 23rd of December each year. This reflects not just the Cornish people's connection to the sea, but their own ways and customs that are different to the rest of the UK. At number 2 is perhaps the most famous pasty in all of Britain, and that is the Cornish pasty. For those who don't know, a pasty is a baked pastry, usually with a meat or cheese filling. The iconic Cornish pasty dates back to the 13th century. It's Cornwall's signature dish. It was created as a means to give tin miners the strength they needed to do their work whilst being easy to carry around. This hearty pasty contained beef, potatoes, swede and onions wrapped in a robust pastry case that would be eaten with dirty hands. Today, the authentic Cornish pasty holds protected geographical indication status, ensuring only pasties made in Cornwall using the traditional methods can bear the name. They are sold across the south of England, but can be found in supermarket shelves in most locations. Number 3 will be familiar to many north, as much like Berry is known for black pudding, Cornwall is known for hog's pudding. Cornish hog's pudding is a traditional West Country delicacy, distinct from black pudding because it contains no blood. It is a hearty mix of pork, fat, breadcrumbs, or rusk in some cases, and oatmeal or pearl barley, and is strongly seasoned, often with garlic, herbs, pepper, and salt. It was made to preserve pork meat and has existed in the region for at least the past 100 years. There is a World's Hog Pudding Tournament held in Truro every year. At number 4, you have a raw fry. This is another dish that traces its ancestry to the industrial operations in the area. It is traditionally the frying of bacon and then the adding of vegetables and potatoes to the bacon fat in order to cook them in a stir-fry-like fashion. It was done to use up spare ingredients and is a staple food of the area, second only to the Cornish pasty. Variations on it have sprung up over time with things like swede being added in, but at its heart, it is very much a bubble and squeak style of meal. Next up at number 5, we have Kidley Broth, which is a traditional Cornish soup made with onions. Once again rooted in mining and the seafaring of the area, and this is an onion-based soup often made with dripping or breadcrumbs poured over cubes of buttered bread. Sometimes bacon or potatoes would be added, but it's most simple, it was an onion broth. Some see its origins in knout soup of the era of the workhouses, when people needed something to fill them up that cost next to nothing and didn't have many ingredients. However, it could also have its origins in the seafaring and tin mining. And now we're going to shift gears and look at Cornish desserts for our other 5. At number 6, we have saffron cake. This rich golden cake has been a Cornish tradition since many times when saffron was traded through Cornwall's ports. This precious spice gives the cake its distinctive colour and delicate flavour, whilst currants, a staple of desserts from the area, and canned peel add sweetness. Often called saffron bread in the southwest, this treat was traditionally baked for special occasions and celebrations, especially when times were hard. At 7 is Cornish gingerbread, sometimes called fairings. When you think of gingerbread, you often think of Cumbria in the Lake District, as this area is famous for its gingerbread. However, Cornwall has its own tradition for making a sweet and spicy dessert. These thin, crispy ginger biscuits originated in the 19th century and were originally sold at Cornwall's local fairs and markets. Made with ginger, cinnamon, golden syrup and Cornish salted butter, Cornish fairings have a distinctive snap and warming spice that makes them popular with both locals and visitors. They remain a staple of Cornish teas everywhere. You will see as we continue into the world of Cornish desserts that they favour a good cake or biscuit over more complex desserts. Practicality in all things, no doubt from the industrial history of the area. Next up, we have Cornish heavy cake. This is a dense, fruit-filled cake and was a staple food for Cornish miners and farm workers who needed sustenance and needed dense, calorie-rich meals to provide them with the energy to do their day's work. Made with flour, lard, currants and sugar, heavy cake lives up to its name with its rich, substantial texture and heavy weight to hold. It was designed to provide lasting energy and could easily be carried in a workman's lunch pail. A miner might have a Cornish pasty and a slice of heavy cake to get them through a long shift in the mines. At number 9 is heather cake. Heather in traditional Cornish means found and would often be shouted by fishermen when they saw skulls of fish. Traditionally, heather cake was made in the celebration of a large catch in Cornish fishing villages. Once again, made with similar ingredients to our other desserts on this list: flour, lard, currants and sugar. However, the thing that set this apart from other things, such as heavy cake, is the distinctive cross-hatch pattern over the top of it. At number 10, we end with a Cornish classic. For anyone who lives there and for anyone who's gone and visited on day trips or seaside holidays, they will instantly know Cornish fudge. Cornish fudge, made with Cornish clotted cream, is a staple food that you often get at the seaside, a seaside treat, and can be found as a classic dessert on many Cornish cream teas as well. It might be served alongside scones, or it might just be sold on its own. And with the cream-infused flavour of it, it has a distinctive taste all of its own. And with that, we come to the end of today's video. If you can think of any Cornish dessert or savoury dish that we left off this list that deserves its place, then please comment below. If you have any fond memories of going to Cornwall, or if you live in Cornwall and you want to share any fond stories of Cornwall, then please comment that too as well below. As always, subscribe to the channel if you like what we're doing and you like our focus on British history and cultural heritage and food history. And of course, a like and a share goes a long way. Share this with anyone else you know who might be interested in British food history, British cultural history, regional foods, any of those sort of things. And this is going to be the first video in a new series where we're going to go to different regions in the UK and look at the food from each region and explore their history and the histories of the area. And the only last thing to say is Diolch and thank you for listening.